Hello and welcome back to Internalize the podcast again after a short weeks of break. By weeks of break, I refer to a single week of break. I don't know what is happening with my English. I think I'm going a little crazy. Today will be a little bit of a shorter episode. I'm finding it a little bit difficult to speak. I have been for the last 2 weeks or so since I've been kind of sick. So just I'm just recovering. So yeah, I think the more I speak, the more likelihood there is of me having a coughing bout, which is not the most, I guess, palatable thing in a podcast. I don't exactly expect you guys to palate it either, in search of a better word. But anyway, that's all for a background. I'm really sorry that I missed last week. I was a little bit sick, as I just mentioned. I thought it'd just be better to take rest and get, you know, okay before I got back to actually working again. But yeah, I'm mostly okay now, barring like cough and stuff. But it's okay. And yeah, we're back to the grind. Today I want to talk a little bit. It's a little bit more of a podcast. I suppose it's a lot more it's a lot more introspective than previously. I don't really have too much to think about. Uh, I mean, at least in terms of tech and stuff, there's not much to talk about. But yeah, I've been thinking a little bit about this, and I thought it would make for an interesting podcast. Maybe a little bit too meta, but I don't know. There's no real definition of right amount of meta, I suppose. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent again. But yeah, I keep saying but. Let's get back into it. I'm getting back into the zone. It's been a week. I need to get back into the headspace and uh, the thing. Just everything needs to be fine. And yeah, let's get into it. Basically, what I've been thinking about is the fact that the more I've spent time doing something, I mean, this stuff, it's not like the longest time I've been a little bit uh, uncomfortable with the idea of people finding out that I do this and listening to it. Uh, I don't really know why, but that's what I want to look into today. The thing is, a bunch of people in my school, my new school, found out that I'm doing this, and yeah, I wasn't really, I guess, that I suppose comfortable with it. And I don't really know why, but I think I have a hypothesis. Uh, but yeah, so the problem is the fact that I've been a little worried about people finding out uh, that I do make this content, in search of a better word, and like these people who I know in real life and I interact with on a day-to-day basis, them finding out that this stuff happens, right? Basically, the YouTube channel, the podcast, the blog, that sort of thing. I don't really know how I feel about it, because it's not the fact that I'm ashamed about what I do or anything. I'm actually really proud of the stuff I make. It's most of the time it's really I don't know, it's really fun, the things I do. I really enjoy doing it. And then it's really, I guess, it's engrossing, and the stuff I make are also most of the time things I'm fairly proud of. And it's also not that I think they won't understand, whoever finds out. And especially in the case of classmates, I don't feel like they won't understand. I actually feel like it's more likely that they'll understand compared to, other people, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know where the feeling arises. It has affected how I view my work, my content, and not just view it, how I create my content as well. It's especially at the start, I was really cognizant about how personal the stuff was that I was making, how whether I was, uh, whether anyone could find out that it was me, whether it act like I spoke like me, or I talked about things that I talked in school, that sort of thing. It's a little bit, I don't know, it was a little bit paranoia-ish, but yeah, what can you do, right? I wasn't really willing to send the stuff when, like, especially when I made the blog and stuff. I wasn't really willing to send it to anybody. much less like my friends and family and stuff. I was like completely, I don't know. I was really, I suppose, stressed out about it, which is again a little bit odd, but I guess it does make sense if you know me, you sort of understand. But I did send the link one time to our Hangouts group, the school Hangouts group. But yeah, I try to make it as unassuming as possible. I just sent the link as it is with no real fluff. No, this is my podcast. Please subscribe. No, this is my blog post. Please give your email for the free monies. But yeah, it was a little bit odd the way I sent it, I suppose. I think I just wanted to convince myself that I sent it to somebody and that I wasn't scared of people finding out about it. Even though in reality I actually was. I was fairly scared of people finding out. But yeah, I guess that was the main issue, right? That's what I've been thinking about primarily. And I think I have an explanation for it. There is like the main explanation I thought of is the fact that I never really enjoy what I made, I suppose, a couple of minutes after I release it, actually. Like once I release it, I start, I guess, becoming a lot more nitpicky about it. I realize, oh, there's so much more that I could have done, or there's this part missing, or there's that part missing, or I could have added this and used this transition and whatever. That sort of thing to make it much better. Uh, but when I make it, I'm fairly proud of what I've created. It's upon releasing that I realize, oh, there's something missing. It could have been so much better. That's the thing, right? I realize that I could have made it better. It's not that I don't have the skill to do it, or I don't have the equipment to do it, or that kind of thing. It's just that I didn't do it. I suppose upon further reflection, uh, after writing this podcast, I realized what I lacked to do it was time. But you don't really think about that stuff, especially when you're having such a, I guess, visceral reaction. But, but yeah, I guess the thing is, all these nitpicks, these really tiny nitpicks, added up really quickly. It's sort of like an exponential add. Whether that makes any sense, I don't really know, but it adds up, and I realized that my creation could have been, so much better if I just added these small things, these small improvements that I suppose most people wouldn't have noticed anyway. I'm also often affected by imposter syndrome, especially when it comes to content that I make about my opinions on something, as well as content I make that teaches people about something. Like, I don't really understand, even now, honestly, I don't really understand why people would want to know my opinions about something. But honestly, I just like making stuff that's opinionated. I don't really know if it doesn't really make much algorithmic sense or financial sense or anything. I just like doing it. But in terms of the teaching part, especially, I'm like, I don't feel qualified to teach anyone about anything, even though I'm probably more well versed in a lot of things I talk about than the average person. It's a weirdly emotional reaction, I suppose, but it's I know. I don't know. It feels very natural to me. It's something that I've dealt with for the longest time, probably around 3 years now, which is, well, it's insane. I've been doing this for 3 years. 2 or 3 years, anyway. The solution, first of all, I don't even know if there should be a solution. I don't think there should be, actually. I don't think there's anything really wrong. There's nothing like blatantly wrong. I'm able to figure out what is wrong in my creations, right? And that's a really good thing at the end of the day, because that's what helps me improve one creation at a time, one step at a time. People, people often say that if you find your past self cringe, then it's a good thing, because that means you've developed as a person. I guess it's very similar in terms of content. I guess it's, if you find your old stuff unsatisfactory, mid, boring, like, I guess that's a good thing, because it means you've improved, right? But yeah, I suppose that's the reason why I was scared of people finding out, because I'm usually not the greatest fan of my work after I release it. Also, the fact that, I don't know, I feel like this is a very odd thing to do. the I don't know, just the whole the narrative around it is a little, it's kind of funny, and it's a little bit odd, and it's like, the sort of outcasts hobby, I suppose, even though like basically everyone likes YouTube nowadays. But anyway, I'm getting going on a tangent, and my voice is giving in. So before I die, I would like to I would like to thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I will catch you next week, hopefully with some actually good, important, useful content. I hope, if I improve as I have committed to myself to do. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I don't know if I said watching the last time, but I mean, thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next week. Goodbye.